Hey, Hiljin Sabangan here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why real estate agents fail in the very first year. All right, so if you are looking to become a real estate agent, I think this is going to be a really good video for you. There's a lot of kind of tidbits to becoming a real estate agent. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that are actually reaching out to me via Instagram, asking me different questions about, the process of becoming an agent, how I like being an agent, and how it's been since I became licensed as a real estate agent. A quick little tidbit, my story. I'm in my fourth year. I've started in the Bay Area. I'm currently in Riverside County in Corona, California. And I've moved out here, obviously, to a brand new city. And it's pretty much like starting from ground zero, right? And then kind of building it up in a place where I don't really know anyone and working my way up and finding some success. I'm 6 months in and I've closed 4 deals so far, which is pretty good actually. So I just want to kind of share my experience, and hopefully this will kind of give you it'll help you make a decision if going and getting your license is going to be a smart thing for you in your future. Okay, so one big prerequisite before getting to the content here is that when I first became licensed as a real estate agent, my broker had told me that on average, first year real estate agents only close 3 deals in their very first year. So in essence, it's very much a losing battle, right? It's no secret that, the very first year is going to be tough. So as long as you kind of like go into this journey as, kind of a way to grow and to learn, soaking everything up as a sponge, I think you'll be fine. Now, if 3 deals is very difficult to live off of. In the Bay Area, when I started, it was a little bit easier to live off 3 transactions. Typically, in the Bay Area, you will get paid 2.5% of every single deal. Average home price in San Jose was close to 1.3. So 2.5% of a $1.3 million deal will net you about $20,000, give or take, depending on what your split is with your broker, right? So, you do 3 of those, you're going to make 60K. I mean, 60K is very difficult to live off of in the Bay Area. So, kind of just do your numbers, understand what you're getting yourself into. And I think it's just important to look at things in a real sense, right? Look at the reality situation, look at data, look at the facts. And if it doesn't scare you and you're still okay kind of getting your license, then by all means, get right into it. For me, my story is I was still working as a personal trainer and physical therapist when I initially got my license, right? I knew I wasn't going to be able to live off of 3 deals a year. And I just kind of had to do what I needed to do to be able to take care of myself. So I did both, right? I was a part-time agent and I still did my personal training thing on the side. Well, actually, personal training was still kind of my main source of income, and being an agent practicing real estate was kind of more my side hustle, building that business up. But I'll go through this on another video. My very first year, I actually closed over 10 deals and I made 200K in GCI, right? And there's a lot of tidbits to kind of unpack with that. It was a totally different time. The rates were fantastic. Everyone was buying and selling. So if you guys want me to kind of break down that story of how I earned 200K my first year as a real estate agent, I'm happy to do so. Leave a comment down below. Let me know that you want me to break that down, and I'm happy to do so and kind of share my experience. All right. Now, with that said, guys, let's get right into it, right? So why most real estate agents fail. Number one, I think this is kind of like the biggest thing for me that I realized. Although initially, right, I got licensed as a real estate agent, you kind of go into it thinking that I'm going in looking to negotiate deals, right? Just like the TV shows, go back and forth, try to get the best price for my client, this and that, buying, selling real estate. But in reality, guys, that part of the job is very minimal. You're not going to be doing that too often, right? It's pretty much just 10% of the job is how I would break it down, really, right? 90% of the job of being a real estate agent is basically being a lead generator. So what I mean by being a lead generator, it's your job is really to market yourself and to generate as many leads as you can who are actually looking to buy or sell real estate, right? So you are looking to obviously buy or get to the point where you're negotiating for your client against the listing agent or against the buyer's agent, whatever the case may be. But in reality, like that, again, is only going to be a very small portion of the job. Your day to day, like Monday through Friday, is kind of boring, guys. You could go to the office, you could work from home. But for the most part, you're out there making phone calls, you're doing cold calls, you're following up the clients that you're working with, you are door knocking, you're putting together marketing materials. You're doing a lot of kind of like busy work, right? A lot of this busy work which is pretty much your prospecting, in order to be able to get to the point where you are helping your clients buy and sell real estate. Think about it this way. This is kind of a good analogy comparison is for basketball players, right? Obviously, the fun part for them is playing in the game day, right? You're 4 quarters, you're playing, whatever the case may be. But before you get there, there's practice, right? There's recovery, there's nutrition. There's all these little things that are pretty much going to be like 80% of preparation to allow you to play in the game. If a professional basketball player isn't practicing, recovering, taking care of the body, eating correctly, then they won't be able to enjoy that part of their profession where they're actually playing in the game under the lights, competing against other teams. And that's exactly what it's like being a real estate agent, right? 80% of your day is kind of lonely, right? You're doing your own thing. You might be working with the team, but obviously if you're generating your own business, you're working as a solo agent. You're doing all this stuff all by yourself. You're doing kind of the tough work of cold calling, right? Following up. It's very monotonous work, but this work allows you to get in the game and eventually make $20,000 of commission checks when you successfully close the deal. So I think agents fail because they don't realize that part of the business and they're not ready for it, right? Mentally, they kind of go into it and they're not ready to understand, or they're not willing to understand that 90% of the business is very, very monotonous, very repetitive, very boring. So this leads to a lot of agents leaving the business because they're not willing to generate leads, which then doesn't allow them to close deals. And at that point, it just costs too much to actually hold the license, that at that point, they just might as well no longer become a real estate agent. So I think that's point number one, why most real estate agents fail, is they're just not ready to see the truth of what it's like on a day-to-day basis, Monday through Friday, as a real estate agent. So understand, guys, that it is a lead generation business. All right, point number two, and I'll take it back to the basketball analogy, right? Is there's skills involved in basketball. You got to dribble, you have to learn how to shoot, play defense, different kind of like athletic movements that you have to have. And it's very similar with real estate agents, right? And obviously it's not physical as a real estate agent, but there's a main skill set that real estate agents have to have, and it's understanding how to sell, right? Understanding how to sell is a huge skill set that every real estate agent has to have in order to succeed, because in essence, real estate agents are really selling themselves to their clients, right? They're selling their knowledge, they're selling themselves as a person, appearance-wise, knowledge-wise, as mentioned, service-wise. We have to be able to understand how to interact with strangers, right? Take a stranger that you've never met and convince them to work with you to make oftentimes the biggest investment, biggest purchase that they're ever going to make in their entire life, right? And in addition to that, you're competing with thousands and thousands and thousands of other agents who have often been in the business for 10 plus years. And that, in essence, leads to a lot of failure because it's an uphill climb, especially for brand new agents getting into the business. It's very much more difficult for a brand new agent to get into the business when they do not have a background in sales. And that's just the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to succeed without a sales background, but my whole point is you have to go into the business understanding that sales is the main skill set that you have to nurture and develop for yourself. And if you do not have a background in sales, you have to work double time harder to be able to educate yourself so that you could go ahead and get to the level where you need to get to in order to be a successful real estate agent. Sales is everything, right? Think about Steph Curry, with his skill set of shooting, dribbling, whatever he is. I mean, he's the best shooter in the world. So let's kind of stick to that whole idea. But he has his routine every single pregame of shooting, every practice. And he has kept to that standard of developing his skill sets and maintaining his skill sets so that he could perform in the level that he's performed for X amount of years in the NBA, right? And if we take that approach as a real estate agent, every day working on your skill sets, developing your skill sets, getting every tool on the box and sharpening those tools so that you could continuously be better and be able to compete with all those other real estate agents who have been there for so many years. The ones who fail are the agents who do not take that, who don't take it seriously, right? Developing their skill sets, their sales skills every single day, every week. That's another reason why agents fail is, they think about, they get into a team, the team is generating them leads. However, they're not able to close a deal because their sales skills is just not up to par. So I think that's a huge reason why real estate agents fail, is the lack of sales skills. And then the final reason, number 3, why real estate agents fail, I think it's just because of the nature of the business, right? There's so much unpredictability within the business, and there's so many things that us as real estate agents cannot control, right? We cannot control rates. Today rates are over 7%, right? And because of that, by nature, it's going to slow down the economy. And we as real estate agents cannot control the interest rates, obviously, right? In addition, we cannot control clients. We cannot force a client to buy a home, and we cannot force a client to sell a home. And then another thing is, we can be putting, X amount of hours towards working with a client, right? Or working to generate leads, and we may not be able to see any sort of result until 3-6 months down the line, right? There's just so much unpredictability in this business. And that makes it difficult to stay in it, right? Because, with your job, with business, one of the greatest peace of minds that you could have in business is to have predictability, right? Especially with income, right? As soon as you don't have that predictability, that comfort of knowing when your next paycheck is coming, that makes it utterly more difficult to be able to stick with the business, right? And in addition, that just messes up a lot of the mindset, right? Stress happens, fear starts to come into your head. And oftentimes that leads to a lot of agents saying, this isn't for me. I'm going to go work a 9-to-5 somewhere else because I can't, this unpredictability, it's just too much, right? And another thing too is, like, if you have a family, right? If you have a family to be able to support, you need that predictability to be able to be that leader for your family, that provider. And if you aren't able to get that in as a real estate agent, then by all means, you have to do what you have to do to support your family, right? And I mean, it's absolutely probably a big reason why a lot of agents, again, leave the business. As a matter of fact, I don't know where I saw it, but someone had told me that over 100,000 agents have left the business recently because of the fact that rates are so high. The economy isn't doing too well. Inflation is just destroying the economy, which is leading a lot of agents to no longer be practicing real estate, right? And I take it back to the whole idea that you have to do what you have to do for your family. It's a tough game. So yeah, I've only been this is my 4th year in the business. I've been through the good times, right? When I first started, I came in when COVID was happening. Rates were super low, right? As low as like 2.5% for a 30-year mortgage, and everyone was buying and selling real estate, right? So I was very fortunate to be able to be in that situation and to see and witness the power of building a real estate business and seeing what good or how well real estate agents can do when the economy is doing well. Now, fast forward to today, totally opposite. Rates are super high and it's just not the same, right? The same sort of marketing things, the same sort of effort, the same sort of prospecting things that I did when I first started real estate, I could implement it today and I'm not going to get the same results, right? So it's a business where you forever have to evolve, right? You forever have to transform yourself. You forever have to just be on your toes and understand that you have to be ready to pivot in order to continue to survive and grow. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? That's the whole thing. Standing here today, right? My 4th year, seeing what I've seen, experiencing what I've experienced so far. And I stand here today still as a real estate agent. Actually, as a matter of fact, this is my main source of income, right? Coming to a brand new city where interest rates are 7% plus and still being able to find success. And the reason I did so is because I've stayed on my toes and I've just kept going. It's super corny, but I just kept on going, right? Every day I kind of wake up and understand what I need to do and understand that if there is an opportunity for me to be able to pivot, make sure that I make that, I do my due diligence and make the pivot that's going to help my business and help my family, help me grow as a person. And that's the main thing. All right, everyone, that takes it to the very end of this video. Those are my 3 reasons why I think real estate agents fail. Thank you so much for spending your time and energy with me. Hopefully you got a lot out of this video. Any questions regarding real estate agent, being in the business, shoot a comment down below or DM me directly. I'm happy to help. I'm an open book, guys. So that said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.